You're watching the 6:15 primetime newscast on Canal, the International. Thanks for joining us. My name is Gladys Sambodiban. Stay tuned for the headlines. Sub-state entities, local councils and regions have been called to further pool efforts with those of states to achieve food self-sufficiency. The message was echoed by the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, George Elanga during a celebration or a declaration ahead of the 11th African Day on Decentralization and Local Development that will be celebrated tomorrow, August 10. And as Cameroon joins the world to commemorate the International Day of the World's Indigenous People, the Cameroon Human Rights Commission has vigorously denounced the position taken by ill-informed actors claiming only the Mbororos, the Bakas, and the Badzangs constitute indigenous people in Cameroon. An ambitious 5-year program to disenclave and develop the northern regions of the country has been set in motion. Meeting in Garoua this Tuesday, developmental actors and officials of the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development laid down modalities on how to transform this plan into a reality. Those were our headlines. Developments right ahead. Again, sometimes for joining us. We begin with the story from the nation's capital. Sub-state entities, local councils and regions have been told to pool efforts in order to achieve food self-sufficiency in the country. The message was echoed by the Minister for Decentralization and Local Development, George Elanga during a declaration ahead of the 11th African Day on Local Development that will be commemorated tomorrow, August 11, 2022. The details with Beatrice Gamu from the nation's capital.
Making food security a key priority for territorial development and cooperation is a theme the African Union is calling member states to reflect on for this 11th edition of the African Day of Decentralization and Local Development. In his declaration ahead of the day, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, George Elanga set in Cameroon the condition for establishing a synergy between the state, regional and local authorities and the private sector for the development of agriculture, pastoral and fish farming production already exist.
The promotion of agriculture and livestock is one of the powers transferred to councils and regions by the law to institute the General Code of Regional and Local Authorities in the field of economic action.
And as such, the celebration, August the 10th, is an opportunity for local elected officials to become aware of their role in food security. Our local areas, especially the rural ones, must benefit from the transformative action of councils and regions in order to fast-track the release of significant agricultural potential they have.
Since achieving food security is not only a matter of production, other councils and regions, regardless of their level of urbanization, have a role to play in the processing, conservation and marketing of foodstuffs.
Instituted by the African Union, the day enhances the dissemination of the 9 principles and values formulated for players in the decentralization sector in the governance of local affairs, such as solidarity, community and inclusive participation, diversity and tolerance, respect for human and people's rights, among many.
Meantime, the Cameroon Minister of Trade says the government has used 408 billion CFA francs as subventions on basic needs following the geometric increase of prices in the world market. Minister Luc Magloire Tanganambarga made the statement while meeting with regional governors during their biannual meeting that was yesterday in the nation's capital. Yaoundé Haisentia tells us more.
Before the regional governors, the Minister of Trade, Luc Magloire Atangana, paints the picture of the state of the skyrocketing prices of basic commodities like gas, petrol, flour, rice, among others. The subvention by the government has cost the state over 408 billion in 2022. Cameroon is losing since January 2022 as subventions on basic commodities. January, 21 billion on petrol and domestic gas. February, 35 billion. March, 42 billion. April, 67 billion. May, 70 billion. June, 84 billion. And the just ended July, 110 billion CFA francs. The communication this Monday, August 8, elaborates the realities of the different items, what Cameroonians pay for, and the discount burdened by the government. Cameroonians buy super for 635 francs per litre, while the actual price is 1,048 francs, so the state pays the rest. For gas oil, the price at the filling station is 575 francs, but the real price is 1,112 francs. For domestic gas, consumers continue to pay a 12.5 kilogram bottle for 6,500 francs, while the real price in the market is 14,000 francs. The custom duties on wheat flour has been reduced, and the price has a subvention of 2,500 francs per bag. That is about 5 billion per month. Trade Minister urges the regional administrators to follow up the respect of homologated prices by business operators in their respective regions and fish out sellers who exploit Cameroonians with additional exorbitant prices.
And to talk about new blood injected into the job market, more than 100 agricultural technicians from the Cliquez School of Agriculture have been advised to contribute to the growth of agro-pastoral activities in order to ensure food self-sufficiency in the country. This was during a ceremony to graduate the more than 100 technicians, that is over the weekend or yesterday, after 2 years of studies. You have more in this report.
Cameroon has great potential to meet its food demand and improve the living conditions of the royal population, but she needs agricultural technicians to boost production. 168 of these agronomists from the Community Development Specialist Training School in Cliquez, North region of Cameroon, are now ready for the job market. First, I will try my luck in the public service while I build on my project. I wish to try my hands in agro-pastoral farming. The difficulties we encountered in the course of our training were mostly during internships. One of them was difficult access to farmers. For 2 years, these senior agricultural technicians and technical agricultural agents were imbibed with knowledge which they will use in solving agricultural and pastoral problems and guarantee development in rural areas.
Ils ont déjà fait l'essentiel.
They already have the essentials. They have the capacities, and so they have to brave all odds. There is a competitive examination launched for the integration of these agricultural technicians. There are also non-governmental organizations who need them. I will advise some of them to group themselves and form cooperatives and research consultancies. With this new batch of agricultural technicians, farmers are expected to be enriched with new farming skills so that they could in turn boost agricultural and pastoral production and guarantee more food self-sufficiency in Cameroon.
And as Cameroon joins the rest of the international community to commemorate the World's Indigenous Day, Cameroon's Human Rights Commission has vigorously denounced the position taken by ill-informed actors on all sides who falsely claim in blatant violation of the Constitution of 18 January 1996 and relevant international instruments that only the Bororos and the 3 Bs, which are the Bakas, the Bakola Obayili, and the Bazan, constitute indigenous people in Cameroon, stressing that such denial of recognition of other indigenous communities synonymous with the rejection of their call for equality violates a fundamental principle and is part of a policy of denial of particularism, which constitutes the formula of the most terrible forms of homogenizing tyranny. The theme for this year's Indigenous Day is the role of indigenous women in preservation and transmission of traditional knowledge. And we talk about an ambitious 5-year program to disenclave and develop the northern region of Cameroon that is currently in the pipeline meeting in Garoua in the north region of the country. This Tuesday, developmental actors and officials of the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development have been drawing down or laying down modalities on how to transform this plan into reality. Regina Letek-Tanda tells us more.
Garoua, northern region of Cameroon, a town and by extension a region handicapped by poor road networks.
Everything needs to be improved because when you travel around the North Territory, you see that roads are in bad condition. So the roads are narrow, especially in countryside. So the idea is that you have in city town, you need to have tire road, large town, and in what concern socio-economic equipment.
At a meeting between developmental stakeholders and the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, MINEPAT, the focus was the implementation of a physical planning to correct the disparities in sustainable development. Top priority is the enlargement of roads and the provision of adequate social amenities. This workshop was very timely, and we want to thank MINEPAT for all their developmental initiatives. I have a strong conviction that if all is put in place as discussed, we could be seeing a complete takeoff of sustainable development for the northern region. The third phase, instituted since 2015, lays out the groundwork for sustainable development plan of the region, an action that will be elaborated in the next 5 years.
And let's talk about Kongsamba in the Mungo division. Shock and consternation hit the population of Lele and Nkante in Kongsamba following the assassination of a commercial motorbike rider by his passenger. The alleged murderer is reported to have made away with his victim's bike, but investigations are currently underway to track down the victim or track down the murderer. The details in this report.
The lifeless body of the 21-year-old Muhammadu Abdul, the young boy who hails from Isu, Menchum division of the Northwest region, was reportedly killed and his body abandoned in this bush by his murderer, a passenger he had transported from the town of Kongsamba to a Kante village in Kongsamba 2 subdivision. He was reportedly pierced by the murderer. He is my neighbor. He usually works from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. On that fateful day, his friends and colleagues got suspicious when they found his motorbike with another man. And when the man was questioned, he said Muhammadu had given him the bike to work. Hours later, the man was found without the bike and told the friends and colleagues of the bike rider that he had returned the bike to the owner, who has gone out to work. They suspected foul play and intensified the search for Muhammadu. They got to the suspect's home but couldn't find him. In the course of searching around, they found the remains of Muhammadu in a bush 300 meters away from the suspect's home. The last information I had was the deployment of groups to search for our colleague, who had gone missing for 24 hours. Surprisingly, only his remains were found. From all indications, he was killed last night. This is another proof of rising insecurity in our sector. The suspect is currently on the run. The youth president of a Kante village has expressed concerns that the alleged assassin is not one of theirs. Investigations have been opened by gendarme officers who are also in search of the said murderer. The young boy was immediately laid to rest.
And famous for its academic and religious standing, Mbeta is a village in the Nguti subdivision of the southwest region that has been badly affected by the Anglophone crisis. This once religious sanctuary is gradually gaining steam of life, is returning to normalcy. Kejang Harriet Tembe takes us to Mbeta, the birthplace of Archbishop Emeritus Cornelius Fontem. The details in this report.
The seismic repercussions of separatist activities in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon have not spared schools in Beta, a farming village in Nguti subdivision of the southwest region. Visited 5 years ago, government primary school Cliquez Beta is apparently ghost structure with overgrown shrubs.
This crisis, we started with the primary section. And this is one of the room. We are only using people's houses in order that children can be learning.
As the heat of separatist activities subside, some parents were able to muster the courage to send their children to school, today known as community schools.
Schools are going on. We have the secondary school and the primary. Schools are functioning in better.
The people of Mbeta have provided their homes for children to study. This is one of these structures that serve as a classroom. Catholic school Mbeta, once vibrant, is adjacent to the Catholic Church, constructed in 1936.
The parish was opened in 1936. School 1938. Up till now, we've got so many fathers, so many reverend sisters, and best of all, you get the bishop, which is the moon from this place.
This school is known to have accommodated pupils who were displaced from other hamlets of Mbeta. Mbeta, once a religious sanctuary, is dear to the people, being the home of Archbishop Emeritus Fontem Cornelius Eswa.
Bishop Eswa knows me proper. He's my age mate. This makes us 80 years. Because of his ordination, road was brought here in Mbeta in 1962.
Despite the gloomy nature of Mbeta, life has actually returned and the people are enjoying as before.
And it is with that report on Better that we wrap up this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. The French edition will be yours at 19h50 with Alain Gislet Kanga. I will be yours again same time tomorrow, God's willing. Bye-bye.